The Ledger of Ashes, a documented faith mystery of Northcutt Ridge, 1916 to 1944. The following account is drawn from parish records, sheriff reports, personal journals, and sworn testimony archived in 1971 under Record File 7B at the State Historical Rooms. The documents concern the destruction of St. Brigid's Chapel on Northcutt Ridge in May of 1942 and a ledger recovered from its ashes. What follows is not a legend. It is a record. On the morning of the 9th of May 1942, Sheriff Harlan May stood among the smoking remains of St. Brigid's Chapel. According to his personal statement, the fire had consumed the roof, the pews, and the altar, but left one object untouched: a parish ledger. May wrote that the book was warm when he picked it up, but not burned. Inside were donation records and other entries, names, dates, scripture references, written in a hand he did not recognize. One line stood out to him immediately: "When the bell rings, do not answer with feet." The bell, May noted, had rung just before the fire, despite the rope being tied off days earlier. By dawn, the ledger was delivered to Reverend Martin Coyle. Reverend Coyle's journal confirms that he did not open the ledger right away. He wrote that he prayed over it first. When he finally read it, he realized the book was more than an account record. Interspersed among normal entries were warnings, some written decades earlier, each paired with scripture. One entry named a local woman, Elsie Northcutt, instructing that a child be taught Psalm 121. Another named Coyle himself. "You will be tempted to prove what must only be trusted." Coyle wrote that the ink appeared older than the fire, yet darker than the rest. If it was a hoax, it was patient. If it was faith, it was inherited. That night, the bell rang again. Deputy Ronald Lane was posted near the ruins shortly after midnight. His affidavit states that at exactly 12:17 a.m., the bell rang once slow and deliberate. Lane reported that the air felt heavy and that he heard singing from the trees. No words, only movement. When he prayed Psalm 23 aloud, the sound stopped instantly. The bell did not ring again that night. The following morning, Reverend Coyle received a telegram from Elsie Northcutt. Elsie's letter, preserved in Coyle's files, provides the earliest known history of the ledger. She wrote that her grandfather had received it during a winter storm from a stranger who vanished by morning. The stranger's instruction was simple: write what you witness. The bell will ring without rope. Elsie recalled her mother teaching her a rule as a child: if the ridge calls your name, answer with scripture, not steps. Now, men were talking about digging beneath the chapel ruins. Coyle noted their names in the ledger margin. Miller, the Haskins brothers. Coyle confronted them at the mill. According to his journal, Cal Miller laughed. He dismissed the ledger as superstition and the fire as coincidence. Coyle warned him plainly: prayer is not a lockpick. That night, 5 men climbed Northcutt Ridge with shovels. Sheriff May followed. What happened next is corroborated by 3 separate accounts. When Miller struck the ash where the altar had stood, the ground did not collapse, it folded inward. Sheriff May described the sound as pages turning beneath the earth. Miller leaned forward and whispered, "That's my name." Reverend Coyle began reading Psalm 46 aloud. Deputy Lane reported that the lantern flames straightened as the words were spoken. The pull weakened. Miller fell to his knees, not in fear, but in recognition. No violence occurred, but every man present understood something had measured them. When Coyle read, "Be still and know that I am God," the bell rang twice, slow, deliberate, like punctuation. The men backed away. The ground did not close, but it no longer called. Vera Haskins later testified that she was at home reading Psalm 121 when the singing stopped. That was how she knew her husband was alive. Changed, but alive. The following Sunday, service was held on the chapel steps. Ash still blackened the stone. Miller confessed publicly, not details, but direction. "I thought I could take what wasn't mine." The final ledger entry, written in a hand consistent with earlier warnings, reads, "Some doors are mercy when closed. Some pits are mercy when seen. Do not wake what prayer has quieted." Street Bridget's Chapel was rebuilt in 1944. The bell rang by rope again. The ledger has remained silent. Closing record. The archive notes that Northcutt Ridge has remained quiet since 1942. The ledger is sealed. Reverend Martin Coyle's final margin note reads, "This was not about the unusual. It was about standing watch." If you have enjoyed this faith-filled story, hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you won't miss the faith within